Hey everybody, welcome back. Tonight, whatever time it is in this world, I want to be discussing, or I will be discussing, if I can talk, the differences between good and bad palettes, quote unquote. Good and bad being respective, like of, is it too powdery? Is there too much kickback? Is there too much fallout? Is like there not enough color, payoff, pigment, etc. And the differences of what I feel defines a good and bad palette. Now, first off, I do love that these are both indie brands and they are, great companies in their own right so far. Nothing bad to say about either. I don't know much about Hell Bites Beauty. I only just bought this from them because it was, sold out, all the rage, yada yada yada. And everybody was going crazy over it. And I had I had to make frickin' see why. So let me adjust the camera just a little bit. Okay, so now I did swatch this first, and when I first got it, and I was honestly, unprimed skin is how I test it first, so I know there's a difference between primed and unprimed. What I'm touching on is unprimed. So when I tried it, there was, it'll focus on my hand at all. Yes, no. Anyway, there was not much fallout or kickback, but when I did the swatch, and this is an honest swatch, this is what I call an honest swatch. You see everybody do these great swatches on Instagram and whatnot, and although mine is not very good, nor is it really wanting to focus, this is what I call an honest swatch. So that was the red shade called Rage. I think it's red orange. And this is the one called Trippy. And that one went on a bit smooth. Oops, sorry. Went on a bit smoother for some reason. So this one is more red orange. This one is more blue based. But you see, if you can, if it'll focus at all, the amount of shearing that goes on. All I have to do is rub, my arm, and I mean, look at that. That does not hold up well, and it stains. It stains pink. I mean, it's red. It's freaking red. It's gonna stain pink or red. Anyway, so that is a palette that needs, there we go, if I can get in focus. That is a palette that needs a lot of help. So you'll want to use a thicker primer or some sort of, base that will actually get this to stick well and show up the colors very easily, because I've noticed with powdery pressed pigments, etc., it is very hard to blend them. So once they stick to a primer, they're going to stick very hard and not move a whole lot, or worse, they're going to become patchy and shear off, which is very unfortunate. Now I've seen people having good luck with this, so I hope when I actually take it for a spin on my face on a primed eye that it will perform better. And that one retails for about $30, I think. Now this one is Wicked Sisters Coven, and this is actually one of my favorite go-to, little palettes. And again, I'll talk about the ingredients and what the difference is between the two. This one is a few dollars less. Actually, I think when I got it, it was on sale for $24. Now, the pan sizes are very, very teeny tiny. But honestly, the payoff is great. The pigment is astonishingly well for something so small. And you have a great basic witchy colors, or what I consider witchy colors, because, purple's a bit of a rusty color, a little bit of white highlight, black to darken it up. This is that orangey color right there. Let's get a bit of skin. And you see how that kind of comes up a little bit, again, chalky, but when you rub it in, you see that color payoff, and you see how it doesn't shear, and it's very shimmery. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see that, my camera's not wanting to behave, but basically, it's got a nice shimmer to it, it's got a nice tone, the color is absolutely true, I feel, to what you see in the pan, and this is unprimed as well. So unprimed skin, this palette really turns up extremely well. So say you have a really, shitty morning, everything's running very fast, you have to go, 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 you just want a bit of color, you can throw this on with very little effort, and it's very soft. So what I noticed is that soft, for both of these palettes, they're very soft, but the other one feels more scratchy and sandy when I say soft and powdery, and this one feels very soft and smooth and buttery. And I figured out why, finally, the mystery to why palettes either perform well or don't is because the first active ingredients on almost anything you buy in the world, period, are what is going to be what's heavily featured in the item. So that goes for palettes as well. Now, what is heavily featured in the beginnings of this palette, the Cyber Goth palette by Hill Bites Beauty, is talc and mica. Now, mica and talc are, of course, minerals, and talc was originally used for, I think it was actually medical purposes, believe it or not. So, but it wasn't just like talcum powder. It was for like stomachs and such, and something to do with mesothelioma. But so the first ingredients in this one are talc and mica, and again, if the first ingredients are those, they're very powdery and they're heavily featured. So when I went over to Wicked Sisters, the Coven palette, what I discovered is their first ingredients, and what makes a lot of sense, is the fact that they heavily feature kaolin clay, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Kaolin, I think. But they feature that clay, which is very nourishing, very soft, and produces the shimmer that you see even in some of the mattes, I feel. But yeah, so that is one of the reasons, and it's just, I'm nothing against, again, Hell Bites Beauty at all, but it is an unfortunate representation of the fact that you don't have to pay a lot for good makeup, honestly. You don't. So when, makeup companies are charging a bunch, I honestly don't understand why, and especially when they have a bunch of, talc and mica in them as their first ingredients. Now, this is not a bad thing. It is just saying that is why you have to, be aware of the fallout, kickback, etc., and the lack of workability, or the fact that you have to work harder with a pigment from one of these palettes. So, yeah, but I've been bringing them back in the shot and not. Anyway, so that is my 2 cents onto the science of why, a palette or an eyeshadow is good or not. But it's just one of the reasons. So I hope y'all learned something, hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'll catch you later.